What's up? What's up? What's up, beautiful people of the world? I'm your host, Matt Latham, board certified master arborist and tree expert, I guess, something like that. Somebody told me that anyway. You're like an expert. I'm like, I don't consider myself that. I look up to the experts, but that's okay. I probably know more than you listening, and that's why we're here. Is because I want to share my wisdom and knowledge and experience with you. Because realistically, if you're watching this program, you are probably a tree owner, a tree manager, or somebody that just loves trees. And so we're glad you're here. But quite frankly, there's so much bad information out there about trees and tree accessories. And so that's what I'm here to do, is to help answer your questions. So this is Ask an Arborist, the Facebook group, and we are broadcasting this on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere you are, just about, and maybe some other ones later on. But we've got some great questions to go through tonight. You can see over here to my right, or your left, maybe. I don't know what it looks like from your perspective, but essentially what we do is we just answer your tree questions. That's why it's Ask an Arborist. I'm an arborist. You're asking. So let's go ahead and answer these questions, because quite frankly, these trees are important to you guys. And we're starting off with Jacqueline Kislowski tonight. And let's go right through this. So Jacqueline's asking, hemlock and woolly adelgid. We have hemlocks on a property that were treated with imidacloprid 3 months ago. About the bottom third of the tree has all unalived branches now. Will those branches get new growth or unalive off for good once the woolly adelgid is gone? Will the healthy top continue to grow? I've added pics to help. Let's check out the pics. You're going to want to show a bunch of pictures to get a good assessment both at the top and the tree of the tree and base. Thank you, Christine. That's great advice. Yes, the more pictures, the better, y'all. Keep them coming. And that's actually one of our big things here. Now, what you doing on here, homie? I banned you. This guy, by the way, to all you tree guys out here, this is a spam-free group. We don't do that here. So get out of here. Bye, Felicia or Nello. Okay, so big hemlock that's infested. Top looks a lot better than the bottom. You know, a lot of times trunk injections are your best bet. The problem with that is you have to be an applicator, a licensed applicator in your state, and you really should be an arborist if you want to do it right. There's doing trunk injections. You can really, really, really damage trees. So woolly adelgid, for those of you that don't know, is a plague on America. It came in, I don't even know, back in the 80s or 90s, and basically wiped out hemlocks like mad. And so many of you up in the Northeast probably remember it well. It was a big, big problem. We've largely gotten it under control, I believe. I'm not the foremost expert on that. We need an entomologist up in this mug. But okay, so the question is, will those branches get new growth or unalive off for good once the adelgid is gone? Will the healthy top continue to grow? Yes, if you can completely eradicate the beetles, the adelgids, then it'll be gone. The unalived branches on the bottom will not grow back. You might get a few sprigs here and there, but one of the differences in deciduous versus evergreen trees is they don't have what we call latent buds. Latent buds are little microscopic little single cell buds underneath, or couple cells, not single, but underneath the bark, that are kind of in case of emergency. So a lot of times you'll see like a live oak or something, a red oak, white oak, whatever, that gets pruned and over pruned, and then you'll see this massive explosion of growth in the middle. That is often latent buds. And unfortunately, hemlocks, pines, cedars, etc., and spruce and fir, oh my, they don't have those latent buds. So unfortunately, the bottom is probably gone. Now you might be able to train those upper branches to kind of grow down and cover that area if you really want to. But yeah, imidacloprid is the go-to for adelgids, and I'm sorry you're dealing with that. It's a messy bug. So hope that helps, and we're moving on. All right, and y'all, I don't know if you knew this, but we crossed 1,000 members. So let me pull up here, because before we get going too far in this, I'm over here just talking and answering questions like crazy, but we got to backtrack a little, y'all, because we ran a little itty bitty contest. This was, let's see, July 18th. That was 6 days ago, y'all. 6 days ago. 1,000 members. At that time, we had 1,001. So I posted that morning at 8:30, 8:13, the day after our live stream. That night, I checked it right before midnight, before I went to bed-ish, and we had 999. So I couldn't announce it then. I waited till morning, got up, and we surely did. We went and we crossed that border, and we are at 1,136 as of the last I checked, which was about 5 minutes ago. That's incredible, you guys, and I couldn't do it without you. Y'all are amazing and asked some wonderful questions in here, and I hope that I'm doing you a service and answering those questions. That's the whole point of this, is just give you some great tree advice. And you know what's funny is a lot of people say, well, you can't just look at a picture online and diagnose and all that. Well, I'm sorry, but the whole medical industry does that. So if they can do it, why can't some tree guys? Because it turns out many of these problems are pretty consistent. So that's what we're here for. I started a little business back in 2018 called Arborist on Demand, and really we haven't done much with it until this past year and a half. But we realized, you know, if I'm driving all around town trying to look at trees and trying to figure out, man, and that's all those hours wasted on the road. Now, I don't waste it. I like what I call Automobile University, and it's a beautiful university. I don't even know where my messages are. Here we go. I'm like technologically illiterate, y'all. But really, I just learned, like, hey, if I'm driving around all those hours, that's that much time that I'm not getting to your questions, not helping people out with their trees. So what I've found is about 90 to 95% of the time, and we're like, it's not a big deal. Sometimes we need soil tissue samples, things like that. And in that case, I can point you in the right direction and teach you how to do it. So that's what we do is Arborist on Demand. It's think of it like telemedicine for trees. And so we did draw we were having some technology. I wanted to click a cool little button and like the spinny wheel goes and it says, oh, so-and-so won, but we were having some tech issues, but that's okay. Because we got our first place winner is Ryan Mushaw. We've got our second place winner is Santino Altolini. And our third place winner is Monica Quarto, excuse me. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering your names, but we did draw our winners. And y'all, thank you so much for participating, for sharing this post in this group to all your cool friends, and for commenting down. We had some great trees dropped in the comments there. Check it out. We got some beauties out here. And, you know, we just had a great conversation and a good time with it. So first place winner is getting a 30-minute digital arborist consultation with me. And we'll basically take a look at your trees in person, digitally, of course, and figure out what's going on with them and what's the best management practice to get them going in the right direction and keep them healthy and strong. Second place is getting a tree health starter kit. It comes with a bottle of MicroLife Super Seaweed Organic Fertilizer, moisture meter, some cool stickers, and a 15-minute consultation. And the third place winner is getting a bottle of MicroLife Super Seaweed. So we'll be reaching out to y'all personally. And if you're on this and you're watching, go ahead and shoot me a DM. I'm Matt Latham. I'm the guy with the black shirt and the hanging on a rope in the picture there. But we'll go ahead and reach out to you personally as well if you don't get to us first. Get all your information and make sure to get those out to you. So we'll get going on that. But thank you all so much for participating. And again, just passing this group along to all your cool friends. It's been really exciting to watch all of this happen and grow like wildfire. So I believe the last I checked, we had 144 members join just this past week alone. There's actually a lot more of that, but we had to kick some of them out because they were just spamming and scamming and all that. We don't like that here, y'all. But anyways, thank you so much for being a part of this group, and we're moving on. Let's talk trees. So Jason's asking, he's seeking opinions on his maple tree. Trees in Ohio, it's yellowing in July. Rain has been pretty good here lately. Next to my neighbor's tree, which is the same. Theirs is much greener. The branches near the top and ends are becoming bare. Any ideas? Yes, I got a lot of ideas. Not all of them are good. I can provide additional photos if necessary. Thank you in advance. Mine is on the right. Looks like yours grew faster. I don't know if that was because it was planted earlier or not. Either way, both of you, let's check this out, y'all. This is crazy. Both of the root flares are, what's that, Lucas? Oh, we got some good comments on this one, apparently. So I see root flares buried. I see mulching actually on there. Mulch is a good thing, actually. That will break down. The microbes will eat the wood. It'll break down and feed the tree. So that may be part of it. But generally speaking, chlorosis is a hormone problem caused by a nutrient deficiency of some sort. Now, that does not mean that you don't have the right nutrients in the soil. What it means is it's not accessible to the tree. And so that is a big difference. A lot of times it's iron, a lot of times it's manganese, sometimes it's nitrogen, but you may want to get a soil sample and send that off, compare it with a tissue sample as well. Let me give you a link here, because these are, you want to get with your state's local ag extension. Yep. Looks like chlorosis could be deficiency in micronutrients like iron, likely iron. I agree. I think those are absolutely spot on. Ooh, we got some good arborists in here talking. Norman is a top-notch, Norman Farrell, absolute top-notch arborist. He's spot on. Michael, he's our next Houston RCA, registered consulting arborist. That's my little blue thing down there. That's what that means, is I'm a registered consulting arborist. And essentially it's like, apparently I know my stuff. But that was a heck of a process. Combo of silver and red. I don't think so. Looks like it's not getting enough nutrients, or it's planted too deep. Yes, it was planted too deep. You can try radial trenching to help. Oh, you're awesome, Christine. Thank you so much for posting that. That is, by the way, for those of you that don't know, that's funny. For those of you that don't know, we do have a YouTube channel where we go on and teach this stuff as well. We'd love to have you to go join that YouTube channel. You just search for Arborist on Demand. Like I said, that's our company that we mainly operate out of. And just look up Arborist on Demand, and we're the guys with the house and the tree. That's, you can see my kids have been playing on it. But we're up to almost 600 subscribers, got a couple hundred videos. And I just, as I'm walking about looking at trees out there in the field, I like to pass that information as I see things onto you guys and just say, hey, look, this is why I have a job, because these stupid guys did this stupid thing, and now I'm here. So anyways, hopefully that'll help you guys avoid doing stupid things and having to call my stupid self. But if you do, we're happy to help, of course. Of course, our website is arboristondemand.com. So Larry's saying, my maple tree that I planted 6 years ago is 49 plus feet tall. What? Should be at least 60. Okay, so we got a friendly competition going on here with the Zacharys. But yes, essentially what you've got here, Jason, you've got a nutrient deficiency that is causing that. Now, that does not mean just go out and pump a bunch of chemicals in the ground, but what it does mean, where is it? Is that it? My Shopify, that's it. Yeah, my bad. Thanks, robots. So let me tell you a really cool product that'll help actually boost the microbes in the soil, which will in turn allow them to start chelating those minerals that it needs: iron, manganese, etc. And this is Humates Plus. This is brilliant stuff. You can get the gallon, but even this will suffice. Just a little quart. That'll last you forever, by the way. Ish. That's a layman's term, not a precise term. Yeah, it could be drainage issue or nutrient deficiency. I'll agree with that 100%. Michael's spot on. Take a soil sample and send it to nearby lab. Give that tree a proper mulching too. Yes, your neighbor's got one. That'll definitely feed the roots. Sorry, plain and simple. If you want to know how to take care of trees properly, go in the forest and see how God did it. And we just simulate that is basically my job. So hope that helps, Jason. We're moving on. John David's asking, this live oak has had shade on one side for years and now looks unbalanced. I've fixed the shade problem. What can I do to encourage growth on the weak side? Ooh, look at that. That's fun. Yeah. It's the Leaning Tower of Trees, Lucas says. So that's a good one. I like it. Leaning Tower of Trees. All right, so let's go. Hold on. I'm a thirsty girl, y'all. All right, so we're going to draw this one out because this is fun. Now, trees will grow. We call it phototropism. So he's got what John David, I think. John David's got a tree over here. Got branches that caused this tree to start being like, whoa, I need all that sunlight. Now, this is over exaggerated, y'all, but you get the point. So trees are going to go for sunlight. Turns out those leaves are actually doing something, guys. What they're doing is they're collecting sunlight. They're using that as energy to take water and carbon dioxide and create C6H12O6. That's sugar for y'all, fancy organic chemistry majors. And essentially what they're doing, that's the building blocks of life. Trees are about 45% oxygen, 45% carbon, about 4% hydrogen. So that's C, 6, H, 6. Oh, H12. My bad. Math. And O, 6. C6H12O6. Right there. That's what trees are made of. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. If they have good amounts of oxygen and air in the soil, which should be about 45 to 50% airspace. By the way, big problem with most trees I look at, y'all. Compacted soil destroys everything that could go on right for the tree, including the microbes in the soil. I had one guy that got mad at me for sticking a soil probe in the ground once. So you're destroying the mycorrhizal, the microflora in the soil. It's like, yeah, but they're all dead, dude. There's no air down there. What we have to do is get air to them so they can start living. And then, yes, I would agree with you. Deep root feeding only covers about 20% of the root zone, by the way. Just so you know, not saying it's a scam, but it's not very effective unless you just simply can't get stuff to sink down into the soil. If you're running off water everywhere, yeah, deep root feeding is a great choice. All those guys with the big fancy spray rigs that want to charge you $5,000 to come deep root feed, fancy feed your trees, usually not necessary. Often a top cover dressing is just as sufficient. So just so you know. All right, so what he's got is he's got a tree that's kind of leaning this way. What I would do is you've got a bunch, and this is like the worst tree ever. What he's trying to do, he's trying to get the tree to correct this way and start filling in the canopy over here. That's a great thing. What you can do is you can actually train this tree. And so anytime I make a pruning wound, that's going to stimulate growth elsewhere on the tree. So for example, you've got all these branches growing this way. And again, I'm the worst artist you'll ever meet. Proud of it too. No problem there. What you can do is you can do reduction pruning on all the stuff on this side. What that looks like is you take each individual limb, not a lot, but you just trim them back to a good lateral branch. Now, the rule with this is the limb that you leave has to be 1/3 the diameter of the branch you just removed. Very important. Otherwise, you can actually unalive that whole limb. But what that'll do, that'll tell this whole branch, this whole section that you pruned, to stop growing, and the tree is going to respond by diverting energy into this section. So we call it structural training. It's not an exact science because trees are, I mean, it is an exact science. Hey, what's up, JK? Hey, great to see you here. It is an exact science, but trees are natural, living, breathing, eating organisms. So, you got to play around with it a little bit. You got to train it just like a kid. The Bible says, train a child in the way he should go. And when he's old, he will never turn from it. And trees are no different. Train them to be strong and healthy and grow appropriately, and they will never turn from it. And generally speaking, they're going to put off the resources they need to really fill in this gap. And that'll actually make the tree stronger. Right now, probably pretty strong because it's been growing like that its whole entire life. So I hope that helps, John David. Yeah, if you wanna get on an arborist consultation, I'd love to help you out, man. Let me send you this link. I wish I could just copy these. Can I copy that? Oh, I can. Look at that. That's beautiful. I don't need that then. So yeah, I'd love to get on a Zoom chat with you. Yeah, I think somebody said, who is that? Lindsay? Oh no, Shem. Shem, what's up, Shem? Great to see you here, man. It's been a while. What are y'all talking about? Not without reducing the competition that precludes the tree from balance. Yeah, okay. So what John David was saying was, I think he got rid of that tree. He's fixed the shade problem. It almost looks like it's crowding it out, but whether it's gone, whether that tree's gone or another tree's gone, it doesn't matter. But children, please. Love you guys. Keep up the good work, y'all. Michael and Shim have been absolutely critical parts of this community. And thank you for all the great advice. Both of them are outstanding arborists. And if you're in the north side of Houston, Michael's a great guy to talk to. He doesn't do residential. He's only on the consulting side. But if you're a developer or anything like that, he's your go-to guy. Shem, on the other hand, is out in Atlanta, I believe. Savannah, right? Tell me if I'm wrong, Shem. But both of them great arborists. Shem's a BCMA like me. I believe he's a registered consulting arborist as well, or maybe working on it. But Michael and I actually went to school together for consulting for arboriculture. So, hey, thanks for the question, John David. Hope that helps, pal. And let me know if you need anything else. All right, Michaela. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Over in Nova Scotia, don't you know? What's up, Canadian neighbor? Thanks for your question here. She's asking, can I get some opinions on what to do with these roots and where the soil level should be? Seems quite uneven to me. The tree grew crooked before we got it. Should have been planted crooked. It should have been planted crooked, which I didn't want to do. The collar is much lower on one side from what I can tell. What would you do in terms of which root to trim and soil level? I actually love where that root is at right now. I would not mess with it, Michaela. I think it looks like you've done some root flare excavation already. Now, let's see. Let's go to, we're really technologically advanced around here, so we use paint. That's a joke, of course. All right, so I'm going to just do a little bit of drawing on here. But essentially what I would do, actually, this needs to be over because my stupid face is annoying. All right, so where's all my stuff? Here we go. Shapes. So you've actually got just a really, really good, no, that's not what I want. Shapes, this one. Let's do this. So this is where, what on earth are you doing here? Okay, y'all get the point. This is where your root flares are. You can see here, maybe you can't because it's in the wrong color. So this is where your root flares are. And that's actually, I really appreciate you being so proactive about this, but you're already on the right track, Michaela. I don't think you need to do much, if anything, to be honest. I'd love to take your money and say otherwise, but like realistically, you got a great looking root flare. You've done some work, and that's great. Now, this one down here that you're seeing, I'm sure that's probably what you're worried about, is actually okay. It's not a bad thing. It's not ideal. You can see how it goes straight down. That might have been an old tap root, but I think it's okay because what will probably happen, it'll start forming some new roots right in the middle of that circle there, and just cover up a little bit with soil, fill that area in, and then allow those roots, specifically like right where those little feeder roots are here. That's actually a great thing. These roots are perfect. That's exactly what I want to see. So put it right about that level, and just let the tree do its thing. I think I don't think you're going wrong. And it looks like you did a lot of that work. So kudos. Well done. That's exactly what you ought to be doing. I think you're on the right track there. And oh man, did I do it again? No, we're good. Okay, so hope that helps, Michaela. We're moving on. Let me know if you have any other questions. All right, can anyone tell me what these are on my trees and how to get rid of them? Ooh, what is that? Is that a maple? That looks like a sycamore, maybe? No. Sycamore or maple? Almost looks like sycamore dust on the bottom. I could be wrong though. That could be like a birch of some sort too. Those are hormonally disrupted buds. I don't know exactly. I'd be willing to bet that I don't think it's a bug. I don't think it's a fungus or anything. I think that's buds that started to grow and they had something affect the hormones that caused them to get all weird like that on you. So you might want to look into, are you doing any herbicide spraying or anything like that? Stay away from that. But to me, it doesn't look like anything bad that you need to get rid of. I think you're okay. What you can do, if you did do some herbicide and things like that, just get you a bottle of this stuff, and that'll go a long, long ways too. Just cleaning up the soil, soaking up the humates will actually bind to a lot of the phytotoxins, a lot of herbicides that are out there. But it'll also just create a really healthy environment for your micro life, your microflora in the soil to start growing and thriving. A lot of those guys are heterotrophic and will eat the herbicides as well. So hope that helps, Aaron. We're moving on. All right. Taylor's asking, we're from Taylor, Springfield, Missouri, looking for advice on the best way to save our rising sun redbud. Those are beautiful trees, by the way. A lot of the redbuds, I really, really like the hybrids. Oops, sorry, y'all. This is crazy. Utility company came out and were jerks about it. They butchered it. One of the big branches they cut off split our redbud in half. I'm not happy to say the least. I don't blame you. I'm afraid the best way to save it is to cut just below the bottom branch at the line in the second picture. I'm afraid you're wrong. Sorry, just calling it like it is. I don't think you need to cut that low. I'm seeing this little red line here. That is too much. We'll look at it a little closer. I'm afraid, but I wanted to get a second opinion before we break out the chainsaw. Thanks in advance. No, you don't want to do that, because doing that, this is the red line I think she's talking about. Taylor could be either way. So Taylor, that would be a topping cut. So you absolutely do not want to do that. No way, no how. Don't do it. What you do want to do is clean up these wounds that those jerks made. Oh, I see what you mean. It looks like that big cut. They split it a little bit. Maybe. Let's see. Are there any other better pictures? No. I think your best bet here is to is not to top it like that. What you can do, you can add a tree growth regulator that will stunt the outward growth of those existing branches. Paclobutrazol is the name of it. You need a really good arborist that knows what they're doing to get that. Excuse me. But it's not ideal. I actually don't think they needed to prune that low. What that is, that black line right there is not. It looks like it may be pole to pole actually, but that's a insulated or a weatherproofed. It's not actually insulated, by the way. Don't rely on that. Assume that it is just a live hot wire, and it will unalive you. Don't touch it. Stay away from it. But essentially what you want to do is you want to train this tree to grow a little bit healthier. So let me go to the big screen here. This one's a little complicated. So boop, there we go. Our eraser's just doing a terrible bad job. Just smearing everything. Let's see if I got another. I don't know what to do with that. Oh. Yeah, no, I sprayed it this morning, actually. Lucas was saying I need to clean my dirty stuff up. And he's right. Actually, I did. I'm an innocent man on that. Well, that's not better. So, all right, we're just going to deal with the messy, stinking board. Handy dandy pen. All right. So what's happened is essentially he had a full canopy, and those jerks came in and they cut off all this stuff. So what's left is these branches growing out here. Got a few that are starting to come up. Most of it's growing. Oops. Under the power lines. So what you can do, you can actually reduce some of these, not topping, bring it back to a good lateral branch, of course, like we've been talking about, very important. So you can reduce it back to a good lateral branch like that, or maybe like back to here. You don't want to do too much because that can be excessive. The tree's already been traumatized. What you do want to do is they left these little stubs here. Make sure to cut that back to the proper place. Treesaregood.com or .org is going to be your best friend here. I'm going to make that. I think it's .com. It might be treesaregood.org. Oh, there we go. We're good. I thought they owned both of them. They've actually got a little itty bitty pruning guide. It's not sufficient for professionals, but it's great for folks like you that are just trying to make a few cuts. Do not top that tree. Don't come in where you wanted to and cut it here. That would be so bad for it. It would resprout, but you're looking at permanent damage that it's going to take the tree a decade or more to recover from, and it'll never be the same. But the other thing is you want to look into paclobutrazol. And make sure you get a good qualified arborist that can help you out with that, because you do have to have a license to purchase that stuff. But essentially, they can retrain that. And if you want, we can always get on a digital arborist consultation and I can take a look at it and actually create a pruning plan for you as well. So that is a great option, and I love doing that for folks. We're actually, Lucas and I are working on this. Shh, mom's the word, y'all. We're working on some really cool technology to actually help us prescribe pruning and do it like in an app format using some really creative robotics and stuff like that. But essentially, you can actually use your own phone to take pictures, and the app will help you to get a good pruning plan. So anyways, we're not out there yet, but it's just something we're working on. So hope that helps, Taylor. And we're moving on. Jenna's asking from nowhere. We planted this tree in early June. Doesn't seem to be doing well. It's a lilac tree in Utah. Ooh, lilacs are really pretty. Look at those beautiful blooms on them. To me, it looks like a watering issue, honestly. Drainage or too much. That could totally be too much. I see the water right there. Ooh, you got root flares buried too. Sorry, Jenna. I'm calling you out on all the bad stuffs. All right, let's see. Copy link address. Go to this website. I actually just did one on vertical mulching too. I haven't edited it yet, so... but yeah, feel free to go on there and check that video out. That'll help you just do a really clever way of getting more oxygen and water down to the roots. Ooh, look at all those mushrooms out there too. That's good. That's a good sign. But it looks like you got a saturated soil. Healthy green grass usually tells me you're watering too much. Not uncommon, but you got to quit that. So there's another really cool, let's see. I know what I need this one. Oopsies. This is what I need. Maybe. Hello? What's that? Okay, so content is going to be here. All right. You know, Lucas, I got to put together, remind me to do this, a list of all the commonly recommended videos and such that we blast out there. I got to do that because exactly. Oh yeah, look at that. That's great. So Christine, actually, you're awesome. She's been such a wonderful part of this community as well. She's our neighbor here in Houston, and I actually helped her out with a pre-purchase on her home. She wanted to look at the trees, and we found some really, really sketchy, scary stuff at that new property that she didn't know was there. So she hired me to come in and just take a look at it, figure out what they needed to do, and was able to use that hopefully in negotiations. I didn't follow up on it, to be honest, but she has been a wonderful part of this community. So Christine, thank you for all you do, and all you guys who are here. We got 10 people on there right now. So this is awesome. I appreciate y'all being here. So Madison's asking, every time I tried planting Justa berries here in Kentucky, they don't grow at all. None of the bare root ones will grow at all. What am I missing? I would love to answer that. I really don't know. Yeah, it could be 1,000 different problems. I don't know what they are. Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and send her a link for this to copy and paste. And we can always get on a Zoom chat, try to figure out what it is exactly you're doing and how you just not have that be a problem anymore. So sorry, I can't be of more help, Madison. I just need more information. That's all. What type of trees are these? Those are red buds. I pass by them every day, and they're so beautiful. I just have to know. I love it. Rising Sun red buds. We looked at some of those. Oh, Yunner. Is that it? Yeah, Rising Sun. Oh, they're so cool. They've got like a yellow and reddish tint to it. Those carotenoids and anthocyanins are just beautiful on those trees. So yeah, Rising Sun red bud. Great call, y'all. Jordan, good eye. Rising Sun. Yeah, red buds are really, really cool trees too, guys. They're very, very diverse. They can go in a long place, a lot of places. And I hope that helps. We're moving on. All right. Been debating on cutting this whole tree down. Been around 30 years on the family property. Past 2 years, all it's done is put out runners, as you see, that are green. It grows new ones every year. Bark is falling off. It is basically a lost cause life-wise. I disagree. Where did I see that? Retrenchment. Retrenchment on this tree is. What's that? I want like 20 of them. Yes. Yes, they're awesome. Yeah, check your local nursery, JK. Those are redbuds are really cool trees. They actually do a little better under canopy. So if you've got some big trees you can put them under, they tend to do a little better there. Some like here in Houston, it gets 125,000 degrees or whatever, and they get burned up. Well, think of it like sun scald or sunburn for people. Trees get what we call sun scald. So you just got to be careful of that. If you lose any portion of the canopy, that intense heat can damage the cambium of the tops of the limbs too. So you'll be hard pressed to find an arborist even willing to climb it. Yeah, without a doubt, though, get that swing away from there. Like, what? That's great. And again, kudos to you, Michael. Thanks so much for being here, bro. He has a great day. We got to catch up again sometime soon. I know. I think you texted me, so I owe you a text back. I'll get to that here later on. I'll cut it myself with a boom lift. No big deal. Yeah, get her did. What you want to do? This looks like a pecan to me, maybe an ash tree. But I think. Oh no! Did I mess it up again? I messed it up again, didn't I? Yeah. So what Michael was saying is retrenchment is if you think of like here. Let's go back to the drawing board because this is an important key critical component to arboriculture because everybody gives like unaliving limbs and stuff a really bad rap. But here's the thing. What we're finding is that out in nature, you'll get these trees that they start to unalive from the tips. They start to do that number, but then you'll get a massive explosion of all this growth right in the middle. And so some really smart guys are going out there doing research on this type of growth. And what we're finding, that's actually not a bad thing. What that is a survival thing. Is the tree is basically really struggling. It's an extremely stressed tree. So instead of just like croaking and giving up, what it does is it starts pulling its resources down to the middle of the canopy. There's a couple things that happens there is A, it's way easier for nutrients to get to that point. B, it's way easier for the tree to stay up in the air because if it's losing, let's say you got some root decay or something down in here, and you lost all this, and if you got that full canopy up there, A, the water has to go that much further to get all the way up into the upper canopy, and B, is the tree is much more likely to fail entirely, come crashing down in a storm. So whenever you see that, a lot of guys, I will actually hear them say, you got to cut the suckers. They're sucking the life out of the tree. No, it's the exact opposite. That's the tree trying to survive. So, JK, great. Perfect question. She's asking, what is retrenchment? So retrenchment is just the word we threw out there to describe what we're seeing in nature. Is basically, this is a survival technique that a lot of trees are built in with. Some of them won't do it. They'll just unalive and it's game over. But a lot of trees have this ability. And if they do, whatever you do, don't go pruning, Devin, those middle, those interior canopies. That is so bad because, yeah, it's the same thing as suckers. So they call them suckers. In the interior, anything. Okay, so here's the rule with those. Let's call them sprouts because that would be a more accurate description. So suckers would come from the root. You'd call them root suckers. Epicormic sprouts or water sprouts are above the ground. So anything above the ground in their sprouts or water shoots, sometimes they're called. Anything below the ground are root suckers. Root suckers, same exact thing. It's a little less important that you keep all the root suckers, although it's doing the same thing. So if you can stand to see them, great, leave them there. But those epicormic sprouts in the canopy, I've seen guys when they come in, they say, you got to get rid of all the suckers. And that's the only living thing on the tree. So don't do it. Leave the tree alone. Yes, you can, Devin, you can get in a boom lift. Make sure you're wearing a helmet and proper PPE. Make sure you and you're probably going to rent it. Make sure you wear that harness that they give you, because if you do something silly and bump the lift, those things move around so much. I have indeed been flipped out of a bucket before. I don't like it. It's no fun. But you know what? I walked away. My head hit the boom, but I had my helmet on. My rope caught me, so I did not hit the ground. I was about 30 feet off the ground. I would have made my wife a widow at that point. So make sure you're wearing PPE if you do that, Devin. But I'm all for it. If you got the willpower, those are all small limbs. Yes, get that swing out of there. Don't encourage people to swing around on that yet until we get it to a better place. But anyways, that was a lot. Thanks for the great question, Devin. But yeah, you've got a really, really struggling tree. So you're going to have to give it some extra TLC, maybe a little extra water, but that's one of those. Let's get on a Zoom chat. Let's get on a digital arborist consultation, because that one's going to be a toughie to get it going. But if you do and you do a few things, then we might have some really good success with it. So hope that helps, Devin. We're moving on. Did I miss one? No. Can anyone tell me, Yasmin Zeski? Where are you from, Yasmin? Nowhere. Yasmin, what's happening with this tree? It's been unaliving slowly since the end of fall. Oh, that's a Japanese maple. Wow, that stinks. No, I don't know specifically. Okay, you do have some buried root flares. That's got to go. I would get rid of that retaining wall. That is only keeping the roots struggling. What I do see is some nastiness, this brown grass on the back side there. Oh, you got a little sun scald. Yep. So we were talking about red buds can get sun scald really bad. And quite frankly, where you at? This is a Japanese maple, by the way. Japanese maples are just as they're so sensitive. So yeah, I think you had one branch fail that opened up a lot of that to the sun. But I'm telling you, I see some brown over here, Yasmin. I don't know what caused it, but I would be willing to bet money that either road salts or some sort of weed and feed or herbicide might be a big part of that problem. Because if you see it here, not an issue. Tree's doing fine. If you see it right over on the driveway side, even not an issue. It seems like the tree's doing fine. But right here on the roadside, where depending on where you live, maybe we don't know. Maybe there's some de-icing salts that are thrown down there. Those are so bad for trees, especially if the county or city or municipality or whatever's doing it. They don't care. They don't know these things. So that may be what's going on. But JK was asking the previous tree, is this tree salvageable? If it were mine, I would. I like success stories, so I would give it my all and maybe have some success, maybe not. But I'd sure want to try, because for me, well, first of all, for me, the cost of materials is not nearly as expensive as it is for you guys, because I get them at wholesale. We have to sell it to you at retail. But yeah, I would try. I think that'd be a fun project for me. Absolutely. Yeah. And I've got clients that want to go along that get and play games with me like that too. And we've had some really serious successes with some retrenching trees. So, yep, I would play games. Absolutely. All right. Hi there. I have a tree in my backyard. 2 branches do not have leaves. What is your professional advice? Pruning, total removal, or leave it? First of all, it's not professional, because that implies that I get paid for this. Ha ha. Got it. Second of all, sorry. You got a maple, or no? I don't think it's a maple. Yeah, I do. It's a maple. Silver maple, sugar maple, silver maple, I think. Yeah, those are not great. Yeah, Lindsay. Oh, this is great, y'all. For those of you that don't know, Lindsay Purcell, he's a great dude. He's taught me a lot in the industry, and he teaches the arborists, basically. He's got a course called Tree U, where he teaches people how to be certified arborists. And he actually has a guarantee that if you take his course within 180 days from going through his course, go and take the arborist exam, that you're guaranteed to pass. So that's pretty cool. Guy that stands behind his work like that. The good old basil prune. Yes, sir. Yeah, silver maple. I would at least remove those stems that are unalived by all means, because silver maples decay really, really fast. Ooh, yeah. I would not want that around my family. Nope. No. Bad structure. bad decay coming in from a topped tree years and years ago. Somebody came in and they topped that tree, and now this is the end result. By the way, topping is bad. Wait, hold on. Topping is bad, y'all. Don't do it. Unless you plan on getting rid of that tree in the near future, like within 5 years, don't top a tree. That is only a temporary means of keeping the tree alive while you come up with another plan. So once you've topped the tree, you have permanently altered the way it functions. And this is, like I said, this is the end result right here. Is unfortunately, I would basil prune. Yep. Get it down before it falls on something. Yikes. I agree wholeheartedly, gentlemen. That's a nasty tree. Sorry, Emre. Hope that helps. I agree with those dudes all sorts of ways. All right, moving on. Is there anything that can be sprayed on a cherry plum to keep it from fruiting? It is a beautiful tree, but has got so bad. I'm thinking of removing it. You can spray the flowers off before they're pollinated. Yes, correct. So y'all know about the birds and the bees, right? We learned about that in whatever grade. Hopefully it was your parents that taught you that one. Yeah, basil prune. Yeah. Basil prune is our funny way of saying, yeah, that tree's got to go, JK. Basil prune is like one prune at the bottom right near the ground. That means the tree's gone. So, yep, it's a complete prune is the other way I like to describe it. You're going to completely prune the tree all the way down to the ground. So, yeah, if you could spray the flowers off before they're pollinated, you'll get little to no fruit. Let's see. Florel is a deflowering agent. This is awesome stuff. You don't need to buy 2.5 gallons, by the way. Florel is a tree growth regulator, different kind than the one we've talked about in the past, y'all. Yeah, tree guys got jokes, JK. We all think we're so funny. I think you could get it on Amazon. Hello. I hate marketing, don't y'all? Monterey is a great brand, by the way. No, there we go. Yep, Monterey. I love Monterey. They do mostly organics. They do some growth regulators. What is it, ethithol or ethithol? I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, I used to use this. By the way, really cool trade secret. This will actually unalive. Yeah, ethithon. This will unalive mistletoe. Florel is awesome because it absolutely does unalive mistletoe. But the only problem with it, you do have to spray it directly on. It's not something you can do it like in a like as a systemic trunk injection or through the roots. You have to spray it directly on the flowers. So in answer to your question, yes, I'm going to go ahead and send you this link because Florel's awesome stuff. I have unalived so much mistletoe over the years, and it actually works. Like I said, the problem is it just takes a lot of. Actually, you know what? I gotta call Monterey because they're a really wonderful brand. I want to start carrying some of their products. So, yep, Grumpy John, great name. Hope that helps. Moving on. Hello, Natalie's asking, looking for advice on a Fuji apple tree planted 3 years ago. It's been growing and this year is producing apples. After a severe windstorm, it began to leaning a bit further each week. The plan is to replant / reposition when it was dormant. However, we're in the middle of growing season. I don't think that will last long. Should we do it now? Should we somehow brace it until fall and then do it? I would wait until fall. Let's see what our other comments were. I would wait until fall. Yep, get the tree upright. There are many support options. A couple of T-posts, straps can do it. Stake outside the root ball. Yes, Michael, you're awesome, dude. Thank you. That's wonderful advice, and he's spot on. Yeah, stake it up temporarily. This is not a permanent solution, Natalie. What you're doing is you want to get the roots to grow. However, I think you got a bigger issue here. I think the tree probably had some trouble rooting in, and I could be wrong, but I do believe that you probably got a situation where the tree really just struggled to take root. Now, we've got a couple of products that are really, really good. This is a good little technique. This is a physical thing that you can do. And essentially what it just does is it allows the roots a great place to grow and start getting established much more rapidly. So this is one link I'm going to give you, and then I'm going to give you another one. You can buy it from me or wherever. I don't care. What's that old Carter commercial? The drug rehab center is, if you can't get help with Carter, get help somewhere. It's like, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Like, hey, if you don't buy it from me, buy this stuff because it's really awesome stuff, and it's going to help get the roots established quite a bit. It's Microlife Ocean Harvest. It's got seaweed extract and fish emulsion and rock phosphates, which will really help develop those roots quite a bit. But I use this actually. They say don't ever fertilize your tree when you plant it, and you're past that point. The other thing too is this is not a true fertilizer. We call it a biostimulant type treatment. This is going to stimulate the roots. It's going to build the microflora in the soil and really just help jumpstart things. So hope that helps, Natalie. Moving on. Maybe. Woohoo! There we go. Freedom. All right, Jennifer. Great name. That's my wife's name. From Wisconsin. My beautiful, perfect. Perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect tree, Jennifer. There's actually a guy I know in Dallas. His company is aperfecttree.com, and he doesn't like me much, but that's okay. Is upset. I don't know why. It started last year with some branches turning brown. First pick late in the summer. Now it looks like this. I have no idea what's going on. It's been there for several years and was doing great with no issues. We live in Wisconsin. You betcha. Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay, the roots are on the same side as the damage. I don't know if that correlation is not causation, but man, that sure is ironic, isn't it? Yeah, you got to get those roots out of there first, or those rocks out of there first of all. That's not good. Looks like it's been pruned quite a bit in the middle too. I would quit doing that. I can't tell exactly what's going on. The root flares are definitely buried, so you got to get those root flares exposed. And let's see if I can find this. What do I have it under? Oh, yeah. There you go, JK. That's the one about... maybe that's it. That's funny. I got a great comment on this video. This one or this one? I think it was this one. Man, it had like 5 reasons why I shouldn't do that. And man, I put the textbook back, but I pulled out the old textbooks and proved wrong. So, girdling roots and maple unaliving. Yeah, you're going to have to get those root flares. Oh, girdling. That's what I need to look up. Sorry. How to remove girdling roots. So what you want to do, you want to expose the root flares to where it flares out nice and big. That's going to be really important, Jennifer. This one's for you, JK. That was the root suckers we talked about. That's in downtown Houston off of Montrose. And then this is the one I was looking at for Jennifer's. As you've probably got some girdling roots down there that are causing some strain on it. You definitely got to get those root flares exposed. That's going to be really, really, really hypercritical. So let's go to the drawing board here real quick here in just a second, as soon as I get this link. But chisel and hammer works great, Jennifer, to get these those root suckers out. You do have the root flares are buried. So I'm going to send you this link here if I can get my friggin' mouse to work. And actually it's operator error, really. Do the dogs pee over by it? That's actually, it's as funny of a... What's up, Gooner? Yeah, thanks for being here, man. Yeah, as funny of a question as that is, and we can all joke about it, that is really a great question. Do the dogs pee over there? Because a lot of times you get dogs walking by. I'm dealing with this at a high-rise apartments in Houston right now, where the dogs are, I don't get it. Like, why would you get a dog if you live in an apartment? But it's not for me. But I understand you got to have your companions. Children work better for me. You just train them to go on the toilet. Maybe you can do that with dogs. I don't know. Has anybody ever tried? Cats, I think maybe you can. But yeah, that as funny of a question as that is, I see that all the time. So the dog urine will actually intensely acidify the soil and cause it to be and actually make some of the nutrients unavailable to the tree. So Great job, Samantha. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I would suspect you got some root issues. Let's go to the root. Let's get to the root of the problem. See what I did there? So if you've got a tree that looks like a telephone pole sticking out of the ground, you are wrong. You do not want the tree to look like this. That is the dirt, soil. Proper word for it. What you want is you want to see these big root flares come out way out, like 1.5 to 2 times the diameter of the trunk itself. And then you want your soil grade after that. And the reason being, there's a couple of reasons. Well, first of all, that's a transitionary tissue from root to stem. And it doesn't like to be saturated for long periods of time. So if you've got this, what's happening is you'll get little mushrooms grow up and things like that. You'll get wood decay fungi that'll just build in that area, and you'll get all kinds of problems. The other thing is the roots will come up and they'll start wrapping around the tree because they want to be at a certain level in the oxygen. That's very important. Trees are always looking for the path of least resistance. So wherever the oxygen and the nutrients are, that's where they want to be. So they'll come up and they'll start, we call it girdling, where they'll essentially, like, think of like a tourniquet or a really bad pair of shoes. They'll just constrict the blood flow, if you will, and they'll cause the tree to not be able to send nutrients from the soil up to the canopy and vice versa. So anyways, hope that helps. Well, really what? I didn't catch that, JK. Yeah, you're in. Oh, I bet that's what you're relaying about. Yeah, that's no good. Why does this say number 11? We're on number 12 now, by the way, y'all. Oh, well, that's an operator error for sure. All right, so we're moving on. Hope that helps, Jennifer. All right, and here we go again. We were just celebrating. This is crazy, y'all. We got 1,136, and we're still cruising. I think we're getting an average of 120 to 140 people a week. So 20 a day. That's pretty nuts, y'all. I did the math at 1 year. That puts us like 7,500. So, but I have a feeling it's going to ramp up even more than that. And I'd like to propose a challenge to you guys. Let's see if we can push this out there and get to 10,000 by the end of 2025. I think that'd be pretty fun. And, I got high hopes. I'm a dreamer, if you will. So anyways, Kelly's asking, I don't want to lose this tree. Everyone I've talked to, non-professionals. No. You ever hire a dentist to do your brain surgery? Me neither. Stick with the professionals. Say it must come down because of the unalived branches. It gets beat up by the wind quite a bit. That's okay. Trees are used to that, believe it or not. Is there a way I can save it? Is there a fertilizer I should use? Would trimming the old unalived branches help it? Thank you in advance for any advice you're willing to provide. I think the tree's actually doing pretty good. I don't think it needs to come down at all. I see really healthy green growth. I see it doing what weeping willows do, which is have that cool weeping effect. And they are like ultimate survivors when it comes to storm damage. They're really, really good at just moving their leaves to flow with the wind. So as the wind's flowing, what we're finding, and trees are so cool. So let's say you've got a leaf here and the wind is blowing this way. Well, what'll happen is the leaf will actually fold and go the direction of the wind. And so that's actually a design element built into the tree that helps them survive storms. Of course, sometimes the storms get too crazy and the tree can't make it. They've got defense mechanisms against that and repair mechanisms as well. So anyways, I think you're actually okay. Let's see what the commenters are saying. Tree's perfectly healthy. Jordan, by the way, he's another, I think you're out of Dallas, right? Andrew Machuca, yeah, Frankie Hart. They're Dallas, or they're Texas guys. Andrew Machuca and I used to compete climbing trees together. He's a cool dude. I worked for his dad a little bit in Waco area on a contract. Let's see what the comments are saying. I will say this is the root flares here, Kelly. They're buried. So you definitely want to get that taken care of. And again, I'll go back to my little drawing here. Back here is you want your tree to look like that. Right now, your tree looks like that, like a telephone pole sticking out of the ground. Well, looks like that. Its root flares are buried, and so the soil is right here. You got to get that exposed, get all that dirt taken away until you see the root flares and start to redevelop that. So that's something easy you can do on the weekend if you get ambitious, or like I said, I'm happy to help guide you through it as well. Yeah, check for borers. That might be a good point, but I really don't see. Oh yeah, Christine, way to go. Get rid of it. That's awesome. Getting attacked by borers. Yeah, borers are nasty. The borers, by the way, they're beetles. Oh, hold on. You don't want to look at me. Borers are beetles, wasps, or moths that lay their eggs inside of the trunk of the tree. The young, the larvae grow up and they start consuming the living tissue of the tree. It's no good. Think of like little bugs coming in and snipping your arteries all around your heart. That doesn't work for any of us. Neither does it for the tree. That tree appears to be retrenching. Yeah, slightly. I agree with that. Recommend removal because they make the most money that way, and also because they lack the training to properly prune and possibly lack the equipment and know how to get those cuts. Yes. Oh, man. Because sometimes getting away out to the tips like that, it really takes some finesse work or machinery, one of the two, or a combination even. Yes. Okay. That's a really good point. So Michael was saying like, hey, you got really healthy grass around there. Stop caring for it so much. And I'm going to second that, Michael. That's brilliant. I think you're spot on there. Look at all that beautiful, healthy grass. I'd be willing to bet good money that I worked hard to earn that you're doing some sort of weed and feed product. Looks like you may even have some sort of crop growing in the background too. So stay away from the herbicides. Stay away from even the what is it, pre-emergent. Sometimes those are actually the same stuff, just in a milder dose. There's a really great one I like called Barricade, and it's actually very, very, very mild. Barricade. Oops, I typed that in the wrong spot, but y'all get the point. Uh-oh. But yeah, I think Michael's spot on. I think you're probably doing some things to the grass that maybe are affecting the tree as well. So stay away from that. Get those root flares exposed. And, if you can, get rid of the unalived tissue. It's really not necessary, though. It doesn't look like you got anything over there that would really get damaged if it were to fall. Maybe a fence line there. But everything looks small to me. I could be wrong. So, all right. Anonymous participant is asking, we moved into our house a few years ago, and these vines, mulberry trees have overcome our pines. We're wondering if there's any saving the pines, trees, and pine trees / spruces. We just started this weekend on cutting all the vines and trees out, but unsure of the life of the pine. Can they be saved? Yeah, vines are generally no good for trees. So if you can get rid of them, you're always better off that way. So there's actually some that will completely envelop the tree, completely unalive it. And then now their skeleton stays there. What is it? I'm drawing a blank on the name there, but the choke vines, and they'll essentially they'll use the tree as like a form, and then the tree will unalive, decay down, and you're left with this skeleton like vine pattern. It's really pretty cool. Like, nature's so cool. Also, you don't want to lose your tree there, so that stinks. Anyways, moving on. Monica's asking, oh, what's up, Monica? You won our third prize. I'm gonna get you some seaweed here, super seaweed from Microlife here shortly. But yes, cypress tree needs help. Cypress nuctensis has a problem. Some part of the branches are turning yellow mustard. I'm not sure if it's a pathogen or need more water. Here, I've got some photos. Excellent. And of course, this might be one of those that would be better off looking into closely. It almost to me looks like it could be mite damage, but it's not on the tips. Generally with mites, you see it on the tips. I'm a little concerned that might be a fungal pathogen called Ceridium canker. Ceridium canker is a really nasty one, and it basically affects all cypresses. Oop, I'm dropping all my stuff. But it affects all cypresses, and depending where you're at, that may be what's going on here. Unfortunately, if it is Ceridium canker, then it's kind of a lost cause. But congratulations on winning anyways. And let's see maybe if we can figure out what's going on with that and get you pointed in the right direction. So, Monica, I'll be reaching out to you here very shortly. All right. Does anyone know Robert Perez in Wilmington, North Carolina? Guys who friended me using his number. Weird. Y'all, there's so many scammers in my industry. Don't trust tree guys, you guys. I don't. I would maybe trust like 2% of arborists, certified guys, to take care of my trees. Yeah, I definitely proceed with caution. You know, I got handed, this is one of the top consulting guys in the Houston area. I won't name names because this could be very dangerous. In fact, I know a guy that actually got unalive threats when he was playing some political games with trees. You wouldn't think like trees, like, hey, let's go off people because of, you know, they're trying to preserve the trees. But that's Houston, man. When I think of Houston, I think of Gotham. Tree guys are the most corrupt bunch I know. And this top guy that like everybody knows him. If I told you his name, you'd be able to look him up, no problem, and find him all over the news. He actually does a lot of philanthropy too. He hands me a business card with an ISA number on it. And again, I'm not mentioning names, but I was like, okay, cool. So I'm going to go look that up. Now you can verify a credential on treesaregood.com/verify a credential. And I'll go and look that up too. But anyways, he hands me that. So I say, I want to look it up. So I go to verify an arborist and it's not there. Okay. Well, that's called fraud. It doesn't matter how you want to, twist the words and play it off. That's called fraud, y'all. So I call up one of the chapter presidents here locally. And I said, hey, can you do me a solid? Can you look this up and find out when this credential was valid? And he says, sure. So he looks it up. He says, 2016. This is in 2024. That's 8 years. This dude's been handing out business cards with his ISA certification number that doesn't exist. He's not a certified arborist. He's a liar. So here's verify an arborist. Anytime you're talking to an arborist, get their ISA certification number, verify that bad boy, because I can't tell you how many times I have met guys that are frauding left and right. And quite frankly, it's illegal. Like, report them to the ISA. We need more accountability in our industry. And it's unfortunate. But right here, treesaregood.org /find an arborist /verify. It's like one of the top main buttons you can click right on the front page. So just treesaregood.org and click that verify an arborist button. Type them in by name. In fact, I had a guy, he was like, oh, Shane's an arborist now. Really? Okay, let's look up Shane. So look, well, no, that's Fort Worth. No, that's San Antonio. No, that's Cypress. That's on the north side. That's not him. I know his last name too. That's not him. That's not him. Fraud. More fraud. More fraud. Shane's not an arborist, y'all. Sorry. He's a liar, or somebody's a liar. Anyways, moving on. There's my soapbox for the night. All right. This is a pin oak in Lansing, Michigan. Been very hot, humid, and wet this season. I don't want to hear it. Wet, humid. What? Oh, sorry, Kenneth. My bad. Yeah. Thanks, Lucas. He's in my ear, by the way. He's my right-hand man behind the scenes right now, and he is crushing it because I missed poor Kenneth here. So Kenneth is asking, has a customer with a bunch of knots on her tree. Looks like chaga, like the mushroom. All the trees in the close vicinity all have the same looking knots. Looks like a bad prune job, and all trees are unaliving slowly. I don't have a picture for reference. Anyone have any ideas? Man, I really don't without a picture, Kenneth. I'm sorry. Let's check out what robots have to say. Hold on. Copy. Right here. Looks like chaga. That's great. Knots or galls. Yeah, bad pruning history. Trees are declined. Black knot. Oh, it could be black knot. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. But yeah, black knot fungus fits in the prunus species. Plum cherries. Prunus. What else? Flowering cherries. Chaga. And a notice. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a good point. I didn't realize that chaga was in the Enonotus family. So chaga is apparently a wood decay fungus. So yeah, I need some more details there, Kenneth. I'm sorry, I can't help you out. But robots are a little helpful this time around. Not always. But anyways, hope that helps, man. And we are moving on. I've trained that robot to be a little more tree friendly too, by the way. So he knows a thing or two. I've fed him some books and stuff like that. So you can do that apparently. This is a pin oak. I live in Lansing, Michigan. It's been very hot, humid, and wet this season. Suspect it's fungal. Any suggestions on how to treat? Let's check it out. You got major chlorosis going on. Major. Yeah, I think take shot with surrounding area. Is this site poorly drained? That's kind of what I'm wondering too. Definitely some chlorosis. Oh wait, there was a comment there. Wind is blowing in my face. Oh, I gotta fix this, y'all. Is this site poorly drained? Very good question, Michael. No, not really. We're somewhat close to a large pond, but no standing water or mushy yard. Yeah, that's going to be some sort of a nutrient deficiency combined with some sort of fungus going on. Do you overwater? That's my question to you there, Cambria. I used to listen to a band called Coheed and Cambria. That's the only other time. That's the second time I've heard that name. Water, dendrocytic chlorosis, which is likely Fe, iron, manganese, or boron deficiency. Get a soil test to assess pH and available nutrients. This will help with the prescription nutrition plan. Yes, spot on as usual, Lindsay. He is just a wonderful diagnostician too, as an arborist. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Copy. Oops, I don't need a function copy that either. Yeah, you're gonna. How much water? We've been getting a lot of rain. I was actually wondering if it was the opposite, Lindsay. Check the soil. Check the soil with a probe. Make sure it is moist. If not, then add water. What is the diameter of the trunk? 4 inches at most. 20 to 25 gallons per week. If not adequate rainfall, however, the nutrition deficiency is the biggest concern. I agree. Yep, you want to get that nutrition deficiency. Not only pull the soil sample, and let me show you some guys that I really love. Soil testing from SoilWorks. I actually just got back some results from them today, and I need to have a conversation with them because I'm still confused. That's okay. The soil testing did not come back with the results that I expected it to, which is always a great fun trying to chase down the mystery and figure out. I love the forensic side of what we do. But these guys are great. SoilWorks LLC. They actually have some of the most comprehensive tests that I have ever seen. And they do some really unique type of testing that gives me some even better answers. So not only do you want a soil sample, you also want a tissue sample, and you want to compare those two, because what's probably happening is you've got the nutrients available. If you have a sandy soil, JK, chaga is it's a type of mushroom. They use it in like Eastern medicine sometimes. Don't get me lying about specifics, but yeah, I didn't realize it was in the Inonotus family. One of my least favorite fungus is called Inonotus striatus, and we nicknamed it the industry did, the climber unaliver. And of course, it's Killer. So, all right. So hope that helps, Cambria. But yeah, you're in good hands. Listen to Lindsay. Get those soil samples and those tissue samples done. Tissue sample you send off to your local ag extension, which I sent you, and the soil sample send it off to SoilWorks. Check it out, compare the two, and let me know. All right, so Johnny is asking. I did a little Googling, but haven't determined how to know if I have a problem or not. I live in Central South Dakota. Only seen one so far. I have a few trees that I would hate to see affected by this. Any guidance in what to look for to see if they're my trees, and what do I do to fix it? Thanks in advance. Put in a jar, possibly fipronil. Fipronil is an insecticide. I have a pretty undesirable fear of bugs. Not one of those things I was going to do right there. I cropped this picture so it looks like I'm close to it, but I stood a good 3 or 4 feet away from it to take. That's awesome. I understand. Bugs are gross. Don't they call these stink bugs? No, I don't think so. To me, that looks like a cottonwood borer. Let's look up cottonwood borer, y'all. Images. Coleoptera family. Yeah, maybe slightly different. Yeah, I could be wrong, but it kind of looks like something in that family. It could be Eastern click beetle. Ugh. I don't know, something along those lines. But yeah, it does kind of look like some sort of a boring insect. Those gross ones. Get a room, y'all. Yeah, kind of looks like cottonwood borer to me, but I don't think so. I don't think that's right. Where did we go? What happened? This is, you can't just do whatever you want and get away with it. Wow, we got a lot of ones to go through. Yeah, it kind of looks like some sort of a longhorn beetle. Yeah, maybe run that one through AI and see, because I thought maybe it was like cottonwood type borer, but it could be something similar. So what you want to look for is little holes in the tree. That's going to be really the key identifier there. Is, do you have holes in the tree? If you do, then you've probably got borers, and you want to get that treated ASAP. Because usually once you see, it's kind of like cockroaches. Once you see one, there's millions of them, it seems. So yeah, keep it in a jar, and I'll reference you to my my blog here with the agriculture extensions as well, because you might actually send that to your local guys, because they're probably used to something like that. But yeah, it looks like some sort of borer to me, but I could be wrong. I don't know. All right, I was told our birch is unaliving. Anyone have any suggestions? I'd get the rock out of there. I'd expose the root flare. Whatever is unaliving your grass there, it seems like maybe you've got some herbicide going on. All the rest of the grass seems just fine, but that doesn't. Ground is where bronze birch borer starts. New homeowner know nothing about this tree or what sick one, healthy one looks like. Have read different things, and you always will. So, Gabrielle. Yeah. So, up in that's hilarious. We lived in Sparta, New Jersey for a little bit, so that was right down the street from NetCon. And it's a gorgeous area up there. They will support all sorts of different different trees and flowers and plant. They call it the Garden State for a reason. There's so much diverse horticulture up in that area. Also, everybody in Jersey is jaded. The joke was, they said there's no Jesus in Jersey. I'm like, I don't think that's how it works, but it's like, it just seemed like everybody was angry at life. No, okay. I have a couple suggestions. You do have some unaliving branches. You're gonna have to get that addressed. But to me, that's a birch. Those black streaks that you're seeing are totally normal on a birch, I believe. I could be wrong because I'm not seeing it up close, but one option we could do is get on a digital arborist consultation and just look at the whole package. Your new homeowner. Yes, and I agree, JK, that is a beautiful bug. I agree wholeheartedly. Also, if it's eating your tree, that kind of takes away from the beauty a little. But back to Gabrielle. Yeah, I think it looks like you got some things going on with the soil there. I would really want to know what it was that was causing it to die back like that. But yeah, that might be a really great option. Is, let's get on a digital arborist consultation. I do charge for it, but we can get on there and figure out exactly what's going on with your tree, where it's at now, where we want it to be, and really just get the most benefit out of it. So, but yeah, I'd have to take a little bit closer look at it in person and figure out just the up close. I can't really see the whole package or anything up close. So hope that helps, Gabrielle, excuse me. And we're moving on. Anyone know what type of tree this is? I live in upstate New York. It blooms. Is that a crab apple, y'all? I don't know crab apples that well. Yeah, Santino is saying crab apple. Oh yeah, that was one of our other winners. Yeah, what's up, Santino? I think you're right. That to me looks like a crab apple, Prunus species. Let's check the almighty robots. That's a joke. Who dat? That's a crab apple tree. Malus species. I'm sorry, not Prunus. Yeah, crab apple it is. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm surprised it answered when I said who dat. That's funny. Cool. Yeah, Malus species. Crab apples are I don't know them very well, but I hear they're really cool trees and do very, very well and are beautiful. Don't think you can eat them though. Fortunately, it just stinks. We're growing like a tree on steroids, y'all. Welcome to all our brand new. This is like, I keep having to post these because, like, look at that list. That's crazy, and it just keeps going. That was like the shortened version. I can't even post all of them because it's like a 20-page thing, y'all. It's like 140 a week is insane. Oh, what's up, Jeremy Williams? Here's another top-notch arborist, you guys. He also is a board certified master arborist and registered consulting arborist like me. I think he got his first, but he's a great dude. Top-notch arborist. Oh, where are you at, Jeremy? I want to say like Tennessee, Kentucky, maybe. Where are you at, dude? But he and I kind of grew up in the industry together, and we both of us used to compete, so we'd like share war stories and stuff like that back in the day. I want to say, yeah. See, when you got guys like that, look at that. That's that. All the guys safetied up, got his bucket truck, got a crane rig going on there. I'm really trying to figure out where you're at so I can tell people about you, but whatever. Oh, here we go. That's what I need. Yeah, Jeremy's a great dude. And like I said, just top-notch arborist as well. I got nothing but good things to say about him. I haven't talked to him a couple years, so maybe not, but yeah, ask a registered consulting arborist. Arkansas, that's right. I'm sorry, Jeremy. You're in Arkansas. Yeah, great guy. If you want to look him up, if you're in Arkansas, need some help from professionals. I'm located in Northeast Arkansas. Whoa, okay, there you go. Boom. Problem solved. My whole yard has been dealing with some type of fungus. Can anyone tell me what this branch has on it? The branch appears to be rotten when we cut it, and we found this white fungus. And it might have been unalived before then. No, the best way to really tell is, again, just go to that U.S. Agriculture website, and you want to send them a tissue sample. If not, RAL Labs is a phenomenal resource as well. But yeah, Jeremy actually might be able to identify it visually as well. But it's always best to get lab confirmation, just because, I've been deceived before too. But RAL Labs is the crab apples. I didn't know that. Okay, so tell me more, JK. That's I didn't know that the birds get drunk off of crab apples. That's so cool. I mean, it's not cool. Alkies, like, it's not good, but that's hilarious. So if your local agriculture extension does not Mango, that's not your name, I don't think. Oops, y'all weren't supposed to see that. So Mango, if you can't get help from the Arkansas extension, then check out RAL Labs, and they'll be able to help guide you along. But really great people there as well. Hope that helps. Should I attempt to remove this piece of angle iron from this old sycamore? If so, any suggestions on how to do it? Or will I do more harm by removing it? I think you do more harm, honestly. Yeah, I would just cut it right around. Try to be gentle. Okay. Okay, so let me preface this. We were talking about crab apples earlier. JK saying, "Oh, those are the trees the birds get drunk off of." I'm like, "Okay, tell me more." She says, "When we had a crab apple tree in my backyard when I was younger, and the birds would eat them and smack right into the window completely just out of it." So maybe it does. I don't know if any of y'all know anymore. That's about like what the processes are. That's hilarious. I'm sad for the poor drunk birdies, but that cracks me up. Yeah. So Albert, and moving on to yours, I think, yeah, I would leave it. I would leave it and cut it right as close as you can without damaging the tree. I think that's going to be your best bet there, pal. But yeah, removal process will damage the tissue surrounding it and create an increased opportunity for decay. I agree. Yeah, you could cut it so the tree can eat around it faster. I wouldn't leave the iron sticking out. Might clothesline you when you're mowing the lawn or playing catch. Yes. Yeah, I love our little community. These are all great guys. Jordan, Lindsay, and Michael are all top-notch arborists out there. So that's what I love about this group. It's not just you guys asking great questions. We really attracted some awesome people out there that are just coming in and answering your questions. So big shout out to you guys. Thanks again for being here. All right, so Brandon's asking, anyone help me with these trees in West Texas? They are Arizona ash. I know Arizona ash. 4 or 5 years old. First year they've acted this way. Would like to be able to save them. Thanks for your help. I know y'all. I think y'all got some of the freezing that we got a few years ago. But this, where is it? That right there looks like either fasciation, which is essentially just a weird hormone response, and it can be caused by uh, by freeze damage, or some sort of herbicide damage. I think that's what's going on. So I would say it's one or the other. Is either freeze damage or some sort of herbicide. And you got some real pretty grass, man. That's awful sus. So hope that helps. But yeah, moving on. One thing you can do if you suspect it's herbicide, go look in your garage or ask the yard guy what they're putting down and find out, because you do have some chewing insects too. In all fairness, is you've got some bugs that are chewing on it, but I don't think that's your big problem. I think your big problem is fasciation, which is generally a hormone response, usually to some sort of outside stimuli like environmental. But to me, it looks like herbicide, honestly. I think you got some herbicide damage, and then the bugs are chewing on it too. Hope that helps, man. And shout out to you way over in West Texas. We used to have when I had my company in Dallas, we had a satellite office in Midland, Odessa area. So maybe you're around there. If you are, let me know. I'll hook you up with a friend of mine. He's really good with the plant healthcare stuff. Hope that helps, bud. All right. Maria Shelley from don't know where. Hello, can anyone give me some insight as to why this tree may not be growing or flowers on the branches anymore? About 3 years ago, my neighbor thought it was his tree and trimmed the branches down. Over the last 2 years, I noticed the leaves and flowers stopped growing. Can it be saved, or should I have it removed? Flowers now grow at the bottom, which is strange to me. Yeah, so this is these are epicormic sprouts. Stems are dead. Michael got it right. He's saying the stems are dead. You can go ahead and remove those, Maria, and cut them back to the flowers and the buds and the stems and all that are growing down there. The yes, so so this is a fun one. So I'm drawing a blank here. Lignotubals. Yeah, lignotubals is the word. Okay, y'all want to see something fun? Big words are for winners. Did y'all know they've done a bunch of studies? A couple studies directly linked vocabulary with IQ. That's humbling. Lignotubals. Tubers or tubals or alls? Lignotubals. I think it's alls. But essentially, right at the base of crepe myrtles are one of them. A lot of trees have these little cells, and they're specialized cells. There's a lot of trees actually like aspen and things and lindens, which have them as well. Forest trees that will essentially, these cells down here are packed with about 10 to 20 times the amount of carbohydrates or sugars, if you will, that a normal tree cell has. What they are, these are in case of emergency cells. So let's say you get a big fire comes in and wipes out everything up top. And now what do you do if you're a tree and you don't want to unalive? Well, what you do is you just activate these lignotubals. And what happens, you've got all that entire root system that has the same absorption capacity as it did before when you had an entire tree up here to support. Now, all you got to do, you got to pump every resource into these lignotubals. Sometimes you'll get 10, 20 feet of growth even in 1 year out of these bad boys. It's a really, really neat survival technique built in. It's a genetic programming thing. This, by the way, to me is evidence of a creator, because information doesn't come from nothing. Information comes from a mind or a source of information, intelligence, if you will. So humble opinion. Y'all don't have to agree with me, but what we can agree on is trees rock, hopefully. And they're just amazing living organisms. So we do have a question that came in. I'll get to that here in just a minute from Bumibati, I think. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But stem's dead. It'll grow faster with a newly planted one each year. Trim the side ones and leave about half of it until you have a group of solid leaders growing tall. You can band them together loosely to get a nice form like you used to have. Probably a 5 to 6 year process to get something resembling what you used to have. Yeah. Spot on, Maria. Follow that advice. Michael's a brilliant dude. And that is exactly, I could not have described it better myself. Actually, he probably described it better, quite frankly, because he's more of a to the point. I like to talk, if you couldn't notice, which also makes these fun little chats we have that much more effective, or at least entertaining, hopefully. All right. So, and to take out a few roots from a gum tree called two arborists, it was like, don't touch, the tree will become unstable, et cetera, et cetera. They will come by to give a quote. Cover with soil is no option. Yeah, you want to avoid, especially really, really close. And this is this brings up a really good point. So let me pull up a big screen here, because here's the thing. There is an area right around the base of a tree. So what you do is you take your tree trunk. This is, we're looking from the top down, y'all. So here's your tree. Let's say it's 12 inches in diameter at 4.5 feet off the ground. That's DBH. What you want to do is you want to multiply 5 times that number ish. It's like 5.34 is the average, but just 5 is fine. And you don't want to go more than that. So that'd be 2.5 feet in this direction and 2.5 feet in this direction. And within that region is what's called the root plate. Too much psycho handwriting. So anytime you're messing with roots in that region, you absolutely are cutting into the structural support system of that tree. So if you can avoid it, please do. Believe it or not, there's a really cool machine called an air spade that oftentimes you can come in and let's look this up here, y'all. Hold on. There we go. So the audio on this is terrible, but an air spade is a really, really great, at least 7 meters away from the stem. You're probably fine then, dude. Yeah. Or dudette, whoever you are. Boomy body. Yeah, I think you're okay. Oh, shoot, y'all are watching. So y'all get it, but I don't know what that is. So if you have to sever them and they're up close to the trunk like that, boomy body, what you can do is find a guy with an air spade, and again, if you need help finding somebody, hit me up. I'm happy to help guide you along. But yeah, essentially that will, you don't want to cut anything up close to the trunk, but he's saying 7 meters away. Well, if that's a massive tree, that might be too close, but realistically 21 feet away, you're probably okay, man. That's got to be a monster of a tree, like 5 feet in diameter plus. So yeah, you're probably okay, man. Just be cautious. Don't cut any big roots if you can avoid it. You're better off digging around than to dig into it. So hopefully that helps, man. But we're moving on. All right. So Lisa's asking, can this tree be saved? It's an autumn blazed maple. Is the last word there. Trunk has split but growing back. There are limbs without leaves. Leaves start turning fall colors early. It used to be one side, now both sides turning autumn colors. I would really love to save it. I'll be honest, autumn blazed maples, I have not had a great history of them just lasting. They seem to be really, really sensitive. I will say the tree is doing a marvelous job of repairing itself, but you got a whole host of problems going on here. You got really healthy grass, which is stealing nutrients from the tree. And also it looks like, again, probably herbicide going on there. Usually when I see good healthy grass, it's because you're unaliving the other stuff. Hey, I'm happy to help. Boomy body, am I saying that right? Give me like a blink once for yes, blink twice for no, blink 3 times if you're being held against your will. But anyways, yeah, I'm glad we could help there. But yeah, I think honestly, autumn blaze maples don't last long. I usually see about, and this is in Houston, so Maybe it's different where you're from, but they usually don't last very long, more than 20, 25 years or so. And then you got problems. Now, I would be shocked if that was in Houston. That does not look like Houston at all. Houston's boring and flat. Yeah, it stinks because it's right front and center. This would be one we'd really have to get on a digital consultation and figure out exactly what's going on with it, Lisa. I'm not, I promise you, I'm not just trying to self-promote here. We get plenty of work, but I don't know. What's that? Uh-oh, Lucas is saying we having tech issues. Now we're at Lisa Frazier. And here's Crystal Jane. Here's the next one. Lucas is saying this doesn't exist in his feed. Anybody else having that trouble? Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. We're having some minor tech issues, y'all. We're all good, though. All right, so Crystal is asking heat advisory here in Oklahoma. I'm wondering if I should be watering it more than I was told. I had this lace bark elm planted a couple of months ago. I was told to only water it for about 30 minutes once a week. I would actually double that. Yeah, I don't. Okay, thanks for that, JK. That helps. That she's confirming it. We're good, Lucas. Okay, so Crystal's asking about her lace bark elm. Lace bark elms are cool trees. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just answered his question too. Pay attention, Lucas. He's slacking on me. He's good. All right. Wondering if I should be watering more than it was sold. Yes. However, make sure you're not watering to a point where the soil stays saturated, and this is where the come on, words. Anybody got words I can borrow? Screwdriver test. He's making fun of me in my ear. It's hard to focus, yo. It's hard to focus. So this is a really, really fun video I did back in February or something. It's a little chilly back then, so I got a cool hat on. My son gave me this hat that I had on in I think when he was 3. He got it as a gift from some church thing we were doing up in New Jersey, and he gave it to me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm honored. I still have that hat, and I love it." This is where we're going. Okay, so yeah, you want to do the screwdriver check and make sure you're not staying saturated. And then the other one too, and I know I sound like a broken record here, y'all, but is that this one is radial trenching. You want to make sure water is draining out of there, Crystal. That's very important. Don't let it saturate and pool in there. We call it the teacup effect. And what'll happen is it'll desiccate the roots. It'll unalive the roots because they're drowning. Roots need air at all times. So when they don't get it, then that's a problem. So Oklahoma, let me know where you're at too. I know some guys in Oklahoma that maybe can help, but yeah, I think that's what you're dealing with. First of all, it should have been planted about 2 months prior to that. And yes, no root flares exposed. JK, spot on. Brilliant. And what's up? Bass Cornelius? What a great name. He's saying hi to you, Shark Bites. He says hi. You can't hear him because he's not on the mic, but I am. I'll pass. I'll be always go between. All right, so we're moving on. Y'all, we're getting pretty close, I think. So Nori was asking, any suggestions on why the branch tips are changing color already on my fall Fiesta maple? I had finished that. There's been no shortage of rain here in Northeast Wisconsin. No, that's actually new leaves. Those are sometimes new leaves will come in kind of, they're technically it's chlorotic, but they just haven't developed the chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is what soaks up sunlight and converts that energy into C6H12O2, O6, and which is sugar. That's the basic building blocks of tree life. But when they're developing, they don't always have the chlorophyll produced. And so what you're seeing there is almost like fall colors. and that's actually really, really normal on those fall fiestas. So I would have to have a better picture. Now, I will say this, Corey, the root flares are buried. I know it's a broken record up in this house, but rocks on the roots. Oh, gross. Don't do rocks on the roots. Rocks. All that soil, dude. Yeah, make sure to heat it up real good. Cook those roots, y'all. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think Christine. Oh, wait. What am I doing here? I don't want to do that. Maybe I do, but we'll see. Okay, big page. We're good. Oh, wait, I didn't post that. My bad. That's what I meant to do. There we go. Now we're cooking with peanut oil, as they say. All right. So I hope that helps, Corey. Yeah, you've got some poor planting going on there. Also, perfect grass, probably herbicides being used. Don't do that around your tree, especially as it breaks into the new ground. All right, here we go. Anonymous participant located in Wisconsin, planted a red maple sapling 3 years ago. The main trunk shoot is very super tall compared to the rest of the tree. Do I cut it off? I've been told to leave it. Will cutting it stunt the growth of the tree upwards? Yes, it will. Leave it. Yeah, don't. If the tree put it there, we typically got to have a better reason to take it off. Sometimes it puts off things that are no good, but it'll fill in the gaps there. We call that apical dominance. Leave it. Let the tree do its thing. Absolutely, Lindsay. Love it. That is solid advice. Yeah, leave it. Let it do its thing. Check the base of it. Make sure the root flares aren't buried, and yeah, give it a little supplemental watering when it gets super hot, and maybe some extra fertilization. But nope, I think you're okay. More anonymous peoples. Does anyone know what could be going on with this flowering tree? Parts of it seem to be dying, unaliving. Excuse me, algorithms. So sorry. And I'd love to save it. Oof, that's not looking great. Let's see what we got here. Looks like you got some fungal. Ooh, root flares buried. Got to get those root flares exposed. Looks like a limb was cut off there, and other limbs have broken because they're so dry and unaliving. I'll be honest. Oh, it's a silver maple too in it. No, it's not. What is that? It's really not a hickory. Cherry? Maybe cherry, maybe. Yeah, you got some serious fungal pathogens going on there, man. I don't know what specifically that is. You can send it off for lab diagnostics, and again, I'll refer you over to my this little blog we did. Basically, it's just every single U.S. state, their agriculture extensions. So these are the guys that are in your area. They usually know better than I do specifically. You get a lot of entomologists, plant pathologists, things like that. So hit them up and try to check with them. They may even tell you to send them a soil sample and a tissue sample and see if they can identify it. But I mean, honestly, that's a really struggling tree. The root flares are buried. It looks like you might have a girdling root on the left side there that we're looking at. I think that's some sort of cherry, but I could be wrong. But yeah, there's a girdling root in there. The root flares are buried. It looks like, I don't know. Looks like some sort of fungal pathogen. Is that like maybe at the bottom of a hill where you're getting excess water sit there? No, the hill looks like it kind of slants that way, but the picture's wonky too. So I'm sorry. I wish I could be more advice to you, but check that out. Maybe send off a tissue sample to the ag extension and see if they can point you in the right direction. Moving on. Devon says, I have a very large old oak tree that I've recently noticed this on. Any insight? Yep, lots of it. That's not good. So what kind of tree is that? That's not a ligustrum or cherry laurel, is it? If that's a cherry laurel, that's a massive cherry laurel. It's not. It's not a cherry laurel. Sorry. Anyways, I can't identify it. But yes, so somebody topped this limb. Topping is bad. We've talked about that countless times. You don't top a tree. You can reduce canopy height by bringing it back to a good lateral branch. So, for example, and I don't think you did this, Devin, did you? I'm assuming it was somebody else. But back to our drawing board here. Just getting out of control, y'all. Check this out. I got a cool trick I can do. And we're clean again. That was going to be a mess. I can't work under these shabby conditions. All right, so let's say you got a branch here. That's a really ugly tree, but it's growing phototropically. There's another tree shadowing it over here. So what you don't want to do is cut it anywhere you feel like. You don't want to make a topping cut. We call it a heading cut. The definition would be a non-discriminate cut. What you want to do is you want to cut it back to a lateral branch, something that can become the dominant lead. So what that means is, like, let's say you want to reduce the canopy height on it. What I might do is start small, bring it back to something like that. If you got to go further, go further. But the smaller the branch wound, the pruning wound, the better it is. Because what will happen is the tree will just send energy into that limb instead of here. And so what will happen, this will become the new dominant lead, and the canopy will reform accordingly. What has happened here is you got a big old thick trunk. Say branches off that way, maybe that way. I don't know. What they've done is they topped it here. And so what happens, whenever I make a good lateral branch wound, if I cut this limb here and remove that, the tree has what's called meristematic tissue. Or meristems. Those meristems, if you remember back to like 8th grade biology, we talked about stem cells. That's in all the research journals nowadays too. Everybody's toying with stem cells, trying to play God. Those stem cells for the tree have the ability to seal that wound. So anytime you see like a big wound that's been cut and you see like this new tissue growing around there, that is meristematic tissue. And that meristematic tissue will keep growing and it'll eventually seal that wound. But when you cut it anywhere you want, it doesn't have that ability. So what happens is it doesn't have the ability to wall off and seal the wound. So fungal pathogens and bugs and beetles, oh my, will come in and they'll just have a heyday. Because that's like, they're like, hey, it's a big old feast. And so I imagine you got something growing here. Somebody at some point, sometime, somewhere, who knows, removed that limb. Here we go. Removed it right over here. And now the fungal pathogens have entered. And think of it like staph infections. Staph infections on you and I, you listening. I don't care who you are and how many times you wash up. You got staph infection on you. Totally normal. We have an immune system that will suppress that. It'll keep it at bay. And our bodies have that wonderful ability. These are design elements built into our genetics and into our body systems. Trees have immune systems too. And so they will, as long as they're functioning right, and they're not damaged like that, then they actually will seal those wounds and they'll wall it off so that fungal pathogens can't continue to push through. It's very, very important that you make the proper cuts. But yeah, that's basically what's going on there, Devin, is you got a wound that will not seal. A bunch of them. This one too, even this. Let's go back here. That too. You had two branches that stemmed off from this one point. Somebody cut them off very inappropriately. Looks like they did little stub cuts. You can see the tree is really trying here, but it's all those pathogens. You can see the discoloration below it. They're entering in, and now your tree's at risk of breaking. So I would have that looked at closer. And again, I'll refer you to me because I'm biased. And by the way, every time y'all pay for a digital arborist consultation, you're helping feed needy children, mostly mine. But that is what it is. So yeah, this was poor pruning that has taken its toll on this tree. And man, I'm sorry you're dealing with that, but hope that helps. And let me know if I can help further. Moving on. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more, yo. We are almost there. We did it. Let's see if I could do it in the next 10 minutes and cut this 2 hours straight. That'd be cool. All right. I'm not going to be able to. I talk too much, y'all. Hope you don't mind. Carla is asking, these are emerald green arborvitae trees. They were planted 1 week ago. Is this shock from being planted in the summer heat? Yeah, probably. Yeah, they're going to need extra water, but you want to make sure that you've got good drainage. So that's going to be really, really critically important, is that the tree can drain while it's also getting plenty of water. So if you think of like the nursery has, they're all in buckets, right? And so those buckets are draining instantly, and they've got really nice healthy soil in those buckets. But yeah, I think you've got to add some extra water to them, but make sure they're draining out of there. Otherwise, you can have other problems. And so here's this video as well that we did. And by the way, I'm working on these because like I'm taking some of y'all's like top questions, and I'm kind of creating a list of videos that we need to be producing in educational blogs and things like that. We just put up, if you go to our website at the Tree Education Center, it's right here at arboristondemand.com, and you can click right up in the Tree Education. So this will give you all of our most recent blogs. What is a tree appraisal and why should you care? So how to prevent trees from breaking during storms, especially hurricanes. That's, yeah, there I am. There's a tree broken. That's cute, right? Why trees fail in storms. So if you're ever wondering anything about trees, like that's a great place to start. We're setting this up to be like just a really good education center for you guys. I'm still working on getting some of the organization and cataloging everything, but I just posted that 4 days ago. And then we were talking about tree appraisals too. So tree appraisals are really important. Is your tree worth $10,000? Here's how to find out. So actually, we just did an appraisal on one, a 60-year-old cedar, and it wound up to be about $15,000. So trees actually hold a lot of value, y'all. And believe it or not, there are a codified way to appraise a tree. We're actually having this discussion in the ASCA forum today. ASCA is the American Society of Consulting Arborists. These are all the hotheads like me that think they know everything. And we have like debates on like words, single words. It's like should or shall and stuff like that. So these are the like top guys. They're a lovely group. Michael, by the way, is a ASCA member, and he's soon to be a registered consulting arborist. Lindsay is also a BCMA / registered consulting arborist like me. Great folks, y'all. So you got some awesome advice being thrown out there in here. And then, like I said, we got some layman folks like Christine Bailey has been on here. JK, I'm waiting for your, $15,000. That was depreciated like like down to like 30%. So that was not just $15,000 worth of tree. If that tree was in pristine condition, then actually it would be worth a lot more. So yeah, that's yes, trees hold a lot of value. The biggest one I ever did was about $120,000 on a single tree. But I'll give you an example. I had a pipeline company was coming in to take eminent domain over some property. Well, this lady's granddad planted the trees in memory of her grandmother, and so they wanted to build this perfect forever home. So instead of doing that, what they did was they left it to the kiddos, and specifically his daughter or his granddaughter rather. And so what happened, pipeline company comes in, they take eminent domain, and they happen to just want the single piece of property where all the trees they planted, they had like this perfect driveway that wound around the trees and everything. And we're talking like 50, 60-year-old trees, some of them, and older. And so what happened, pipeline company offered him $14,000, all $14,000 for like 2 acres worth of property. And they sued them. So they were like, no, we disagree. We think it's worth more than that. I did an appraisal. It came in a little over $1 million worth of these trees. And what wound up happening, they wound up settling for $200,000, a little over $200,000. So it wasn't the million that we were going for, but it's way better than 14,000. So yes, it's really beneficial to have a guy like me on your side, especially if you get like stuff like that happens, insurance claims, things like that. Sometimes they'll say, well, oh, here we go. Tree appraisal is most commonly needed for insurance claims, neighbor disputes, construction projects. Like, for example, if you've got guys working on your property and you pull an appraisal on that tree, you can sit there and you can tell them beforehand and say, this tree is worth $8,500 or whatever dollars. And so don't touch it or we're coming after you. Legal court cases, we get like chemical trespassing all the time where somebody oversprayed. I'm working on a couple cases like that right now, or sprayed too much, and they wound up, wind blew the chemicals over, unalived their trees, and now who's to blame? So first of all, we have to prove, was it the chemicals or was it something else, something natural? Second of all, if we can prove that it was the chemicals, then we're coming after them because that was wrong. It says on the label, don't spray when there's high winds. Every label on the planet says that. Don't spray anywhere where you think there's going to be tree roots. Actually, I say that. Scott's Turf, I'm not fans of them. I don't care if they come after me. Bring your lawyers on. Let's go. They petitioned with the EPA 3, 4, 5 years ago to get that label removed, and they won. And so it actually removed the label on some of their products, not all of them. That says do not put this where you could potentially maybe kind of sort of even speculate that there's tree roots. So yeah, real estate, land evaluations, municipal code enforcement or mitigation requirements. I've seen a lot of things, and yeah, it's nice to have a tree appraisal. It's not the cheapest thing to get in the world because it takes a lot of math and a lot of thought work and a lot of research to do a single individual appraisal. But if you do it, and you need it, there's actually a really great. Here, I'm just going to grab this real quick. There's a few books on this planet that I like so much that I sliced them up into bits. So this is one of those. This is the Guide for Tree and Plant Appraisal. It's put out there by the Council of Tree of Plant Appraisal, Council of Tree and Landscape Appraisers, and that's basically an organization that has people from every green industry you can imagine come together and say, what are the best practices? So they write this book, they figure out what are the best practices. And this, man, I can't tell you, I'll pull things out and pass it around the courtroom and be like, y'all read it yourself. This is straight from the book. And they can't believe I cut it up, but it's very beneficial to have this. So I'm sorry, the guys that wrote this. I know this is probably blasphemy, me just taking a razor blade to your book, but that's how much I appreciate it, you guys. So it's a wonderful book. This is 10th edition revised. I think it's the third revision from the 10th edition. And there's actually, that was part of the conversation was some of the guys in ASCA did not like the fact that, and I'd be happy to debate about this with you guys too. I kind of stayed out of that combo, but I'm watching them talk and they're like, well, 9th edition has better practices, so we should go with that. It's like 9th edition's 22 years old, yo. I'm sorry. We've moved on. We've figured more things out in the industry, and we've all agreed. So anyways, tree appraisals are fun for me. I enjoy them because it's really fun to see what's a tree actually worth. And by the way, that's not all the value. Sometimes there's actually more value on top of my appraisal because it's in memory of, there's intrinsic value, there's privacy value, there's fruit production value, there's memory value, there's sentimental value. There's so much value that trees bring to us. And there's a program called iTree can actually give you how much in electricity is my tree saving me value. So all these things matter. And especially if there's intrinsic or personal value. Like I said, a lot of trees are planted in memory of people. And so trees are important. So yeah, tree appraisals are fun. But yeah, that's wow. Lucas, can you read that YouTube? I'm not going to post that one. Damp booty hole. All right. I'm gonna ignore that comment, but that's kind of I'm chuckling inside. You can see it, Lucas. Oh, well, that's probably for the better. Yeah. Don't read it out loud. Not even to me. I don't want to hear it in my ear. So, anyways, okay. So back to Daniel's question. Sorry, that was a big old, huge fan voice. I appreciate it, man. I wish I could comment on that, but we keep it clean all up in this house. So, cracking me up. He must be a tree guy. This guy's got jokes. Yeah. I've been at this for 2 hours. Of course, I'm sweating. I'm parched. It's also we got an AC issue that we're dealing with, so I get 5%. Yeah, HVAC. Yeah, I get like 5%. I got a fan blowing on me right now, but it's just not cutting it. My office is like at the far end of the house, so it gets hot. And we're in Texas, so it was 105 today in Houston. So these guys have actually answered this question really, really well. This is a sucker from the rootstock. Most likely, crown suckers or apicormic sprouts should be judged situational based on cause and effect. It's not good practice to wholesale remove crown sprouts. I agree. Let them grow, yo. Let it grow. That's a maple. Maple or sycamore? Sycamore. My bad. Yeah. What's up, Jennifer Latham? That's my love. Hey, beautiful. It's good to see you, girl. I know I'm trying to wrap it up. We got like 4 more. I'm just rambling at this point, though. Yeah, I'm gonna make this quick because I miss my wife. All right, Abraham saying planted this one 6 weeks ago. Not sure what is wrong with them. Please advise. First of all, you got them way too close. Yeah, here we go. Planted this one 6 weeks ago. Not sure what is wrong. You got some watering issues of some sort there, Abraham. If it's 6 weeks ago, ooh, look at that slant. That's crazy. Yeah, so these are getting good drainage. These are getting drained into. I would imagine you've got too much water and they're way too close. You might want to take about half of those away, actually. Maybe probably. There we go. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I think you'll have a really good set of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those, yeah, I'd take about half of those away. They're planted way too close. They look like arborvitae to me. That could be Ceridium king or cypress. Could be. I don't think it is. Yeah, no. That could be cedar, actually. Yeah, I think you got them. Whatever it is, I think you got them too close. I think you've got too much or too little water. That's typically what's going on. It depends where you are, too, because like here in Houston, those would already be unalived. Ontario, oh, no, you got great weather up there for those guys. That could be arborvitae. Those grow really well up there, too. So, yeah, you've got something going on. You're going to want to check the roots. And here, I'll refer you back to this one. You want to be a little proactive with this one there, Abraham. It's very important that they're not sitting in water. If they're sitting in water, most trees do not like wet feet. That's yeah, bro. It's cool. I see how it is. Damp hole of some sort. You cracking me up, dude, or dudette. You sound like a tree guy. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm assuming you're an arborist of some sort. So. Yeah, I don't think. Okay, so back to Abraham. I don't think that's any bug or fungus of any sort. To me, it looks like you just got way too much water going on. But it could be the opposite too. It could be a lack of water. So hope that helps, man. But yeah, check out that video and just make sure you're doing the screwdriver test. Jam it in the soil, pull it back out again. Make sure it's like 6-8 inches long. If it stays wet and muddy, you got problems. Like make sure to hold off, let the soil dry out. Oh, and I'll leave you this one too. Where is it? Too many stinking videos. $238. I didn't even realize we've done that many. That's crazy. I just like take a video and just post it. It's not, I don't even edit it very well. My son is actually going to start helping with that. He's really excited to partake in the family business, if you will. So last year I was eating a peach on my front porch and threw the seed in a random pot. Look what I got. My question is, should I bring it inside? Leave it outside in the pot this winter. Central Arkansas. So here's the thing with peach trees or most fruit trees in general. What you're eating is on the fruit stalk. Generally speaking, you've got 2 portions of a fruit tree. Generally speaking, there's some heirloom ones that are just pure stock, but most trees are going to have a root stock and a fruit stock. The root stock has a really beefy root system that can handle and tolerate a lot of conditions. That's good. The fruit stock generally from that rootstock is going to be terrible fruit, little thorns on them all over the place. You know, they're just not good. So what they do is they graft onto the rootstock a fruit stock. And so sometimes you'll get like this little crazy little bulge here, but or there, wherever. So you've got fruit stock, and then you got root stock. The root stock is designed for survival. The fruit stock is designed for tasty fruit. So what you want to eat is the fruit stock. What you've got is only the fruit stock if you're eating the seed of it. So chances are it's not going to be very tolerant of heat and cold and things like that. So yes, what I would do, I would leave it in the pot. You can kind of bonsai it a little bit, and I would bring it in during winter. I would bring it in when it gets super hot, and I would bring it in when it gets super cold. So, but yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. You got a fruit stock and a root stock. They're grafted together. So you got two different plants with two different purposes hybridized to create a better product for you, hopefully, and in theory. So hope that helps. We're moving on. All right. Russell's asking, what exactly is going on here? The past month or so has been an all-you-can-eat insect buffet. Beetles, butterflies, bees, and hornets all day. White oak tree appears to be degrading at the... What's up, Lucas? Oh, yeah, that was 30. This is our last one, isn't it? Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, this was 34 minutes ago. Well done, Stanley. Good timing. Russell Stamey. White oak appears to be degrading at the base. Otherwise, tree appears healthy. Yes. So sap, or sangre de arbos, blood of the tree, is actually a food source for a lot of critters, and it's full of sugars. We talked about trees are basically made of sugar, and trees make sugar. And so what's probably going on, you got a whole ecosystem here. It looks like some wasps are attacking the bees, which are maybe going after the sweet, sticky sap, which are probably, and you might even have some bacterial issues going on there too, some fungal decay, which is starting all of that. But that's really pretty cool, man. Send that into the Nature Channel and see what they got to say, because that might be something that they'd post up there. Beetles, butterflies, bees, and hornets all day long. That's super cool. I love nature. I watched this got me really excited about it. Probably 2012. Yeah, 20. I'm probably 10 years into my career at this point, and we're doing an event at Earth Day Dallas. It's a big event. If you're in Dallas, it's pretty fun actually. They got some great vendors there. Also, way too much soy being flung there. I don't like soy. Soy's bad for humans. It's that's that greenwashing everybody's talking about. So yeah, I watched a wasp come in, and we have like fall webworms going on like crazy up there, Eastern tent caterpillars rather, and they're dropping out of the tree. We set up a little recreational tree climbing booth, and we got kids up in the tree and all that. And somebody was like, "Hey, y'all, come check this out!" And there's a wasp parasitizing, laying its eggs inside of a caterpillar. We all just thought it was so cool. And so that may be what's going on here. You got one group of critters coming in, eating the sap, one group that's coming in and eating the bees that are eating the sap. And you might just have this whole feeding frenzy going on there, but nature's cool, y'all. So JK asked a great question, actually. Is there any threat to the structure of the tree? That is yes. Great question. Yes, I think JK's right. I think there may be some structural issues going on. What you want to do is get what we call a tree risk assessment on that. And first of all, whenever we do a tree risk assessment, we look at, hey, there's a question. Ooh, that's a heck of a question too. I will get to that here in a second, Joshua. But the, yeah, you want to check out and make sure that, first of all, is the tree structurally sound? Second of all, if it's not, what are the consequences should it fail? Anytime we're looking at tree structure, will it fall or fail in some sort of capacity? And B, what are the consequences if it were to fail? If a tree falls in the forest, who cares? That's called future tree plant food. It's like the microbes will break it down, feed all the rest of the ecosystem in the forest. If it falls on your family, it's got to go. So hope that helps. But yeah, I'm happy to do that for you, or you can find a local guy to come in. One thing that you can do, actually, I'll post a little video here too. This one, and then what is it doing? I hate when it does that. Okay, so this is one. I'm happy to hop on a digital arborist consultation with you and check it out. But then I did this video too. Shorts. Just recently, how to detect dangerous tree decay. That's it. That's our show, guys. Thank y'all so much for being here. I will answer one other question from Joshua Gallagher. This is a fun question. Steel MS881 versus Husky 3120 XP. I like. Okay, so I'm a hybrid. I don't go for just steel. I don't go for just Echo. I don't go for just Husky. I go for whatever's better. For top handled saw, I like an Echo 35 something. Anyways, it's the big boy. You can port them out. You can increase the airflow and the timing and get a really, really hot saw. Man, and they scream past those 201s. I don't care. The only one better is the old MS 200Ts with the upgrade, the modifications as well. For a mid-grade saw, I love a Husky, what is it, 375, 372 XP. Man, those are just awesome saws. They're super lightweight. It's a great one. It's beefy enough to cut through like 2, 3, 4 foot logs, but it's also it's light enough where you can carry it up in the tree with you, no problem. I mean, little problem, but not too much. When you get to the big boys, I love those steel MS881s. There's so much torque in them. They do not slow down for anything. I found you gotta speed them up a little bit. So you got to advance the timing just a hair, and you got to increase the air intake and export, and you'll get a really, really bad running saw just screaming through that wood. So yeah, I love the 881s. They just don't stop. Like they're 661s are great too, but those 881s, first of all, once you get them started, the compression issues on those things are a beast. But yeah, I really prefer the 881s. Humble opinion. Actually, one of my favorite saws, a 442 or 441. The 440 MS 441s were great because they got a lot of power. But again, you can advance the timing and open up the air a little bit, and man, they just scream through wood. I remember we were out in California, and I was limbing this tree that we fell, and yeah, 881. I agree. Yeah, especially like if you can get them Snellerized or whatever, send them off and get them upgraded, modified. Or if you got a Dremel, just open up the exhaust there, the muffler, just a little bit. Make sure you're not throwing sparks everywhere and burn down the forest too. But like if you can do it responsibly and you know how to do all that stuff, man, tinker away. Because just get a Dremel or a drill and just open up some holes in the muffler and shoot. You'll get 10% extra power and speed out of that just by itself. But anyways, so I'm sorry, we're getting off onto bunny trails, but yeah, great question. You're obviously a fellow tree guy, man. Welcome to the club, and feel free to hang around and join our Facebook group. It's Ask an Arborist, and we'd love to have you. And of course, subscribe to the channel, y'all. But by the way, we did just break 1,000, and not only did we break 1,000, y'all, but we broke like 1,100, and we're well on our way to 1,200, and we're getting basically 20 to 30 people joining every day. 1,139. So when we started this 2 hours ago, we were at 1,136. So that's 3 just in the past 2 hours. So this is a growing group. We're going to do some really cool things. I think that tree care is way behind. And so I learned a long time ago, with a little bit of technology and a little bit of education, we can go out there and actually make a difference in the world and just teach people. I remember in Dallas growing up, we used to take these new kids, and we were all competition climbers. So man, some of my buddies would go out in the forest and we'd find like the biggest, baddest tree we can climb. And we'd start getting kind of crowds, and people would just kind of show up and like, what are y'all doing? Can you do that? Some of the crowds were police officers that got called on us if we were at public parks, and we lied. We'd tell them like, we're just checking the tree. But what we found was like all these other tree guys were like, well, I want to come do that. And some of them were brand new. They've never done this. They've never seen this. Some of them never been off the ground. I even took a few clients up in the tree with me back in the day. It's like I had these extra harnesses. Like, well, shoot, yeah, you should get to know your tree a little bit. But trees are really good. So we'd go and we'd teach these people how to climb. And all of a sudden, and we'd just talk, and we'd start lifting each other up as an industry. And we would, we just hang out and talk trees. And what we found is like we built on each other. We built each other up, and we had a great time doing it. And what we would find is that in a 10-year period, I watched the pun intended, I guess, the landscape of arboriculture change in the Dallas area. And I found there's some politics here in Houston, but I really see the same potential here. There's a few guys that are really pushing and leading the charge. And like, I tell people, it's pathetic that I'm the only BCMA and RCA in the Houston area. That is pathetic. And we used to joke about how bad tree care was in like 10, 12 years ago. But the industry is coming to a point. I think we're getting to that like really kind of take off, the crypto to the moon point, where the whole industry is starting to figure some things out. We've got really cool technology like AI that helps, but we've got other technologies like sonic tomography, where we can take sound waves, ping them through the tree, and measure the decay inside of the tree. Well, now they're taking it a step further. Now we've got ground penetrating radar. We can take the antenna and get an even clearer map to see exactly what's in the tree. So tree care is at a point, and this is a quote from former ASCA president Jeff Ling. He said, I'm really excited for you next generation, because we worked 30 years to get to a point where we are now. Well, tree care is at a point where modern medicine was in the 50s and 60s. And man, I really took that to heart, because like we're starting to figure some things out. And for those of you that are arborists and tree guys out there, man, hang around and do yourself a favor, read some freaking books. Hang out with these guys here. Lindsay Purcell does a wonderful teaching course on Arboriculture 101, and he basically guarantees that you'll pass the Arborist exam. So, but trees are important. Trees are really important for people, and that's exactly why I started my company, Arborist on Demand. And we basically do telemedicine for trees. And so no matter where you are in the world, we can take a look at it. Sometimes it really does take some soil samples or some tissue samples. And in those circumstances, often I can just guide you along. And so we're able to help more people on a daily basis doing it that way than if I were to just drive around all over Houston. Of course, the joke is it takes an hour to get from Houston to Houston. So does it make sense that I'm sitting in the car, or does it make more sense, going and getting on a digital arborist consultation, helping people get the answers they need to the trees they love and live under. So again, thank you guys so much. If you haven't yet, hop on over to YouTube, look up Arborist on Demand, come subscribe to the channel and hang out. I'm trying to pump out as many good videos. We're in busy season right now, so I'm kind of slacking a little bit. But like I said, my son, I think, is going to be my video editor moving forward. He's really excited about these things. So anyways, thanks so much again for being here, y'all. What a great episode. Great questions. Keep on bringing them in, and we'll answer them next week. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks again.